Hi, I'm Linda May, and I'm a reader here for Crystal Magic Psychic Center in beautiful Sedona, Arizona. And I'm here today to talk to you about this new moon period that we are beginning in the evening on Sunday, January 18th at 12:52 p.m. Arizona time, which right now is Mountain Standard Time, so you can adjust your times accordingly. This also represents the end of one lunar cycle and the beginning of another. Astrologically, this means that both the sun and the moon are in the same signs, and on January 18th, they're both in the sign of Capricorn. The new moon is usually a time of new beginnings, and this time gives us a powerful opportunity to set intentions, goals, and decisions around responsibility, both career-wise as well as personal structure in your life. This new moon in Capricorn inspires you to focus on such constructive traits of tenaciousness, resourcefulness, discipline, ambition, as well as wisdom and prudence in all of the choices that you make. Take time to focus on attainable long-term goals and work on developing the common sense needed to prepare for the future, and nurture your dreams in a very realistic manner. Combine your visions with feasibility and set out the next steps in a very practical way. And as you build those structures, make sure that they reflect your current values and desires. That's very important. And that's all part of this new moon, which is great. Aspect-wise, there are a few ups and downs, however, to consider. On January 14th, which is before the actual new moon, Mercury opposes Jupiter. And this is actually not a bad thing because Jupiter is a very wonderful sign and Mercury is about communication. So this may help with negotiations, but do take time to weigh your arguments carefully and don't make promises rashly. And that's because of some of the other things coming up. On the 15th, which is just the next day, Venus forms a sextile to Saturn, which is the planet of learning our lessons. And it trines Uranus, which is quick changes. That's all on the 15th. So that's Venus. So that has to do with our feelings and emotions, as well as our love relationships and things like that. And then on the 17th, it's all sextile to Neptune. So that sort of kind of, brings it back into a nice place. Venus sextile Neptune is actually a really beautiful, beautiful thing. On the same day, though, the sun sextiles Saturn, and Saturn, like I said, is, the planet that we learn our lessons. It's our karmic things that we need to take care of in this life and all that kind of stuff. But then again, it trines Uranus and Venus, and it moves into Aquarius. So in some ways, it's like ups and downs, like I said, but it's just for a few days, and then, it kind of settles in. But all of this will inspire you to benefit from all of these creative ventures and cooperation with others and all of that. And that's all right before the new moon, okay? After the new moon on the 18th, we see the sun and Mercury both moving into Aquarius. So that's, kind of like, I think of the song, The Age of Aquarius, every time I think about this, but it's true. In some ways, that's kind of what we're bringing in at this time of year. Venus conjuncts Pluto and Saturn sextiles Uranus. So again, we have some of those changes that I was talking about. And Pluto is intensity. Saturn is learning our lessons. And so, things can go up or down right after that entering into Aquarius. Mars also enters trine in Uranus, trines Uranus and sextiles Uranus the next few days. And so then there are a few other aspects. The sun and Mercury conjunct on the 21st, which is right after the full moon, the new moon. Mercury, Pluto, and the sun are all conjunct on the 23rd, which is actually really great. And then Mars enters Aquarius. So a new course is set through all of this. I mean, we're basically in the process of setting a whole new course. Relationships will deepen. It will call for more honest decisions and choices that you make in your life. And you need to be very clear about your intentions and don't procrastinate. Be aware of the hidden power surges that are under the surface. With all these planets, there's a lot of strong planets at work here in many different ways. So it is something for us to, be aware of. And remember that clarity and authenticity will help to create trust in the best ways possible. Then on January 26th, which is, about a week after the full moon, a new moon, sorry, Neptune moves into Aries and it will stay there until 2038. So so Neptune's been in Pisces and for a long, long time, because it's a slow moving planet. It's one of the slowest moving planets aside from Pluto. And so it will be in Aries until 2038. So in some ways, I feel like this is like a time of new beginnings in the next couple of decades. It's major, it changes our ideals, and it brings a pioneering spirit as we discover our own strengths. So that's astrologically what's going on, quite a bit, huh? And we are now in the season of winter. It's the last of the 3 winter seasons. Winter has taken us into the dark time of the year, yet we're also noticing the return of the light as the days start getting longer and longer every day. It is a time of rebirth, redemption, and resurrection within the soul, which is great for this time, especially with all we're going through. And it does move us into the season of Imbolc, which is a time of harmony and balance, and it coincides with the next full moon. So I will be talking more about that next time, about Imbolc. The traditional Celtic tree calendar, which is based on the moon cycles with the new year beginning at Samhain, October 31st, has the tree for this period of the January moon cycle, because that's what this is. It is. And the January moon cycle is willow, okay? So that's this card here. And it's associated with flow and changes. So that is a lot of what we're going through, and it's right in alignment with this card, okay? So willow right there. And that's from this deck, the Celtic Tree Oracle deck, okay? And it's a time of cooperation, intuition, fertility, and creativity. It's a great time to share resources with others and support yourself as well as others as much as possible. So I like that. In some ways, to me, that's, it's taking all the aspects that we talked about and sort of smoothing them all out as we keep going forward, which I think is great. And now a Druid Animal Oracle card from this deck here, the Druid Animal Oracle deck. Okay, this is the beautiful animals that have very deep messages. And we get the bull. Very interesting. The bull. The bull actually stands for, it's sort of a very strong energy that has us charging into things. So sometimes when we charge into things, we don't take time to think about what we're doing. So, some of those quick changes that we're talking about coming up and everything, this could be a sign of, how we could be operating. And the interesting thing about the bull is these 3 birds are cranes, and they stand for balance. So one of the things this is saying is before you go charging into anything, just take a moment, check inside, see is this the right thing to do? And if so, the bull gives you the energy that gives you the energy to get anything done that you want. And the bull can also be very stubborn. So a part of what this card is saying is if you find yourself being very unreasonably stubborn, check in. Is this really the right thing to do in this moment? And if it is time to hold a boundary or something like that, then allow that stubbornness to do its work and to hold that boundary for you. So the bull allows you to charge into things or say no way as you find out what is the right thing for you to do, okay? So go to that inner balance before you just make rash decisions. So that's part of what the bull is telling us, okay? And now from this Druidcraft Tarot deck right here, this is just as beautiful cards in its own way. And let's see what we get. Okay, so, wow. So we get the 8 of Pentacles. This is pretty much in alignment with what we were talking about because it has to do with steady work. So it's like taking the time to do the job right. It's basically working towards long-term goals. So it's a lot about what this whole new moon in Capricorn is about, is, just being practical and setting your goals. And that's part of what we're supposed to be doing at the new time of the year anyway. So that all works. being steady, making the progress. Don't get caught up in, you know, what's next. And I don't want to be done in a hurry. I want to do everything right. So it's a step-by-step process. That's what this card is all about. So that's kind of what we should keep in mind as we are going forward right now. Okay. Now the trees, the Whispering Woods deck. This is very simple but deep messages that are actually kind of neat. And interesting, surprises is the one I got. Surprises says, under the most ordinary stone is an undisturbed garden. So this is a very interesting thing. And I kind of like that it says something about the stone, because that reminds me of the Capricorn energy. It's very grounded energy. It's very earthy, all of that kind of thing. But under the most ordinary stone is an undisturbed garden. So it's kind of like the new growth that's under the earth, ready to come up. So in some ways, to me, this is sort of a celebration of winter turning towards spring, which is, you know, what's going to be happening in the very near future. So very cool, surprises. Now the Sedona Spirit Wind deck. We get sacred sites. These are, oh gosh, I think we got this one. This is where the sacred sites in Sedona, they all have very deep meanings. And this one particular is Slide Rock. And this is also a very interesting card for this particular moon video. My soul is set free in childlike joy. So in some ways, I think of this as sort of like when we're moving into Aquarius, which is just a little bit after, you know, this new moon. So we're moving into Aquarius like less than a week later. So it's actually really kind of cool that, you know, that childlike joy, because that's part of the Aquarian energy too. So my soul is set free in childlike joy. And now I want to do the Light Bearers deck, the angels that are coming in to help us awaken humanity, and see what angel we get for this. And we get Angel Aura, which actually I think we might have gotten just recently, but it's actually a great card. Here's the card. Okay, Archangel Aura. So she's definitely one of the main angels. And she says, inner peace and harmony flow much more freely when you let go of the thoughts that have kept you off balance. Focus on peace, laughter, and joy, and everything will be brought into harmony. Isn't that beautiful? And I like that, because especially when we're going through these, you know, some of the challenges that I was talking about with the aspects, if we focus on the good in our life, if we focus on things that we really want to do, if we take it a step at a time, like we kind of saw with this, you know, and get the progress done, then we can focus on the peace, laughter, and joy, and everything gets brought into harmony. And I do believe that that's actually happening at this particular time of year too, with Imo coming and, you know, all of the light returning and all of that kind of stuff. So it just totally fits in. And yeah, so I want you to take all of these deep into your heart, and let's see. Remember, all of this is a theme until the full moon, which is on February 1st. So I'll be doing, you know, another video about a week before then. And that way, you know, you can find out more about the next full moon that's coming up. And in the meantime, if you would like to have a psychic reading, be sure to check out crystalmagicpsychiccenter.com. We have a lot of wonderful readers here. You can read the descriptions and see who calls to you. That's who you should choose. I myself am usually here on Friday mornings and Monday afternoons for the next few months at least. And then I'm not really sure what's going to happen, but I know for sure that. And you can schedule readings, like I said, with me or any of the other readers that you see. And we do Zoom, phone, and in-person readings. And we also take walk-ins. So if you happen to be in Sedona, you can come in and just see which readers are on that day and set an appointment. So that would be, you know, I just wanted to let you know all of this, and I want to wish you blessings of this new moon, and remember that you are always loved.